Have you ever found yourself awake at night, questioning if everything in your relationship is as it seems? That unsettling feeling that something might be off? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into one of the most challenging topics in relationships: trust, infidelity, and the steps to rebuilding or letting go. This video will guide you through recognizing the signs, confronting the truth, and the healing process that follows. Watch until the end because we'll also explore how to strengthen yourself emotionally and emerge stronger, no matter the outcome. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Your support means a lot, so if you find value in this video, please give it a thumbs up to help spread our message. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now, let's get started. Have you ever been kept awake at night by a creeping suspicion that your partner might not be as faithful as you believed? That nagging sense of unease, the kind that settles deep in your chest, making you question every little detail, every conversation, every change in behavior? It's an uncomfortable, painful feeling, isn't it? But you're not alone. Let's sit down together for a real conversation about this delicate and heart-wrenching topic. My name is Donna Maria, and I am a woman who has been fortunate to live for 90 years. Through my many years of life, I have seen love in all its forms, its beauty, its fragility, and sadly, its moments of betrayal. Infidelity is one of the deepest wounds a heart can endure. It's a betrayal that rips apart the very fabric of trust, leaving a gaping hole where security and comfort once existed. Yet, while the pain is undeniably devastating, I've come to believe that even the darkest moments in our lives carry the potential for deep growth and self-discovery. Today, I want to offer a space for reflection, not fear. I'm not here to make you doubt your relationship more or fill your heart with anxiety. Instead, I want to share the wisdom I've gained from decades of observing human relationships so that perhaps you can find peace, clarity, and even healing. Throughout my years, I have witnessed how infidelity can quietly weave itself into a relationship. Sometimes, the signs are so subtle that we question whether we're imagining things. A change in routine. A growing distance. Conversations that once flowed naturally now feel stilted, guarded. It's easy to dismiss these feelings or tell ourselves we're overreacting. But deep down, we often know when something isn't right. I've seen how people, good people, can fall into situations of betrayal, sometimes without intending to. Life is complex, and relationships even more so. But what I want to stress is that if you're feeling a gnawing sense of doubt or insecurity, don't ignore it. Our intuition is a powerful force. It's there for a reason, not to lead us into fear, but to guide us toward the truth, however difficult that truth may be. Now, I know how terrifying it can be to confront these feelings. The idea of discussing infidelity with your partner, of opening that door, can feel like stepping into a storm. But trust me when I say that avoiding it only allows the storm to grow more ferocious. What I've learned, from witnessing the pain of others and walking through my own struggles, is that addressing these doubts with honesty and kindness is the only way forward. It's crucial to approach these conversations not with accusations or anger, but with a deep sense of care, for yourself, for your partner, and for the relationship you've built. Speak from your heart, express your fears, and ask for honesty in return. This isn't about winning or losing. It's about seeking clarity, understanding, and, if possible, healing. One of the hardest lessons I've learned in life is that sometimes, even when we approach things with love and openness, we may still uncover painful truths. And that's okay. Because knowing the truth, no matter how heartbreaking, allows us to make decisions from a place of strength rather than fear. It allows us to either rebuild what was broken or find the courage to walk away from something that no longer serves us. Dear friends, if you're struggling with doubts or suspicions in your relationship, don't carry that burden alone. Remember that trust is the foundation of all love, and without it, the relationship will wither. But trust can be rebuilt, brick by brick, if both partners are willing to put in the work. And if not, then know that walking away is not a failure. It is an act of self-love and respect. Today, let's explore not only the signs of infidelity, but also the paths toward healing. Whether you are here to find answers or simply to seek comfort, know that this space is one of understanding and compassion. We will talk about how to navigate the difficult terrain of suspicion, how to confront these feelings with grace, and how to move forward, no matter what the outcome may be. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. It is my belief, after 90 years of watching the ebb and flow of human connections, that love is resilient. It can survive the most unimaginable storms if nurtured with patience, honesty, and unwavering commitment. And sometimes, even in the face of infidelity, there is room for redemption and growth. But that journey starts with truth, no matter how difficult that truth may be to hear. So, my dear listeners, join me in this heartfelt conversation. Together, let's seek the clarity we deserve, the courage to confront our fears, and the strength to find our way, whether that means rebuilding what was broken or starting anew with the lessons learned. In love, as in life, the journey is always worth it, even when the road is rough. Infidelity is a topic that strikes at the very core of our hearts, and confronting the possibility that someone you love may be unfaithful is one of the most emotionally challenging experiences you can face. It often begins with subtle signs that something is amiss, tiny cracks in the foundation of your relationship that start to widen over time. It's easy to dismiss these early warning signs, brushing off your concerns as paranoia or blaming them on stress or work. But deep down, there's a quiet voice, a gut feeling, whispering that things are not as they once were. Let's talk about this uncomfortable reality, one that so many of us are afraid to even consider, let alone confront. I've lived for 90 years, and in that time, I've seen all kinds of relationships. I've witnessed love in its purest forms, but I've also seen how it can be betrayed. Through my own personal experiences and countless stories shared with me by friends, acquaintances, and loved ones, I've learned to recognize certain patterns of behavior that often signal a deeper issue in a relationship. These are not guarantees of infidelity, but they are red flags that warrant attention. One of the most glaring signs that something might be wrong is a sudden and unexplained shift in your partner's behavior. Imagine someone who has always been present, emotionally available, and communicative suddenly becoming distant. They pull away, and the warmth that once defined your relationship seems to vanish. Conversations that once flowed easily now feel stilted, forced, or even non-existent. You might find them spending more time on their phone, being unusually secretive, or acting cold when they used to be affectionate. I remember a dear friend who went through something similar. Her partner, who had always been attentive, suddenly seemed to drift away. He stopped engaging in their usual routines, avoided deep conversations, and was always busy when she wanted to spend time together. It was as though he had emotionally checked out of the relationship without offering any explanation. Her attempts to reconnect were met with indifference, and the growing distance between them became palpable. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but she knew something had changed. That was the beginning of the end for them, as she later discovered his heart had strayed to someone else. Another warning sign is an abrupt and significant change in how your partner presents themselves. Have you ever noticed someone who, out of nowhere, develops a newfound obsession with their appearance? Maybe they start buying new clothes, changing their hairstyle, or spending hours at the gym when they previously showed little interest in such things. While it's natural for people to want to take care of themselves, especially as they age or go through life changes, when this shift comes suddenly and without explanation, it can be a sign that they're trying to impress someone new. I knew a woman whose husband went through this very transformation. He had always been a man of simple tastes, happy with his old, comfortable clothes and an occasional workout. Then, one day, he seemed to flip a switch. He started buying expensive, trendy outfits, spent hours perfecting his appearance, and suddenly took a keen interest in fitness. At first, she was thrilled to see him taking care of himself, but soon she realized his newfound attention to his looks wasn't for her benefit. He was dressing to impress someone else. It was devastating for her to discover the truth behind his sudden change, but in hindsight, she realized the signs had been there all along. Beyond the emotional and physical changes, another red flag can be found in your partner's level of attentiveness. When a person is emotionally invested in someone else, they often become less attentive to their current partner. This can manifest in small ways, like forgetting important dates, being less responsive to your needs, or simply not noticing the little things they used to. There's a certain absent-mindedness that takes over, as though their thoughts and energy are elsewhere. You might find yourself feeling invisible, like you're no longer a priority in their life. But I want to make something very clear. Just because you notice these changes doesn't automatically mean your partner is being unfaithful. Relationships go through natural ebbs and flows, and sometimes people withdraw because they're dealing with personal stress, health issues, or other internal struggles. It's important not to jump to conclusions or assume the worst without having all the facts. That being said, if you're seeing multiple signs, if the changes in your partner's behavior are significant and persistent, it's worth having an open and honest conversation. Avoid accusations and anger, and instead approach the discussion with a genuine desire to understand what's happening. Ask questions, share your feelings, and create a space where your partner can speak honestly. Sometimes, these conversations can lead to a deeper understanding of each other and provide a path forward. Other times, they may reveal painful truths that can't be ignored. If you find yourself facing the reality of infidelity, remember that you are not alone in this journey. Many people have walked this path before, and while the pain can feel overwhelming, it's possible to heal. Whether you choose to work through the betrayal and rebuild trust or decide to move on, know that you have the strength within you to make the right choice for yourself. Trust is the foundation of every relationship, and when that trust is broken, it can feel like the ground has been pulled out from under you. But even in the face of betrayal, there is hope. Relationships can be rebuilt, but it takes time, effort, and a commitment to honesty from both partners. And if the relationship cannot be saved, then let this be a moment of growth for you, a chance to rediscover your own strength, to heal, and to move forward with a clearer sense of what you deserve in love. So, if you've noticed these signs in your own relationship, take a deep breath. You have the power to face this head-on. Don't let fear keep you from seeking the truth, and don't ignore your intuition. You deserve to be in a relationship where you feel loved, respected, and valued. Listen to your heart, trust your instincts, and above all, remember that you are worthy of a love that is faithful, true, and unwavering. One of the most unsettling signs that something may be wrong in a relationship is when a partner suddenly becomes overly protective of their electronic devices. In the modern age, our phones and computers have become extensions of ourselves, holding personal messages, photos, and interactions that reveal much about our daily lives and innermost thoughts. If your partner suddenly changes their behavior around these devices, such as frequently changing passwords, becoming defensive when you ask to borrow their phone, or even taking their phone with them everywhere, including the bathroom, it can trigger alarm bells. I once heard of a case where a husband, who had always been relaxed about his phone, suddenly started carrying it with him everywhere, guarding it as if it contained his deepest secrets. His wife, who initially brushed it off as a quirk, couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Over time, she began to notice that he became tense whenever his phone buzzed, and he would quickly shut it off or change the subject if she asked about it. This level of secrecy and increased privacy around devices often signals that something is being hidden. It may not necessarily mean infidelity, but it does suggest that there's a barrier between you and your partner that didn't exist before. When someone is emotionally or romantically involved with another person, they tend to become hyper-aware of their need to hide evidence of that relationship, whether it's a string of messages, photos, or even late-night phone calls. This shift in behavior is often subtle at first but becomes more pronounced over time, creating a growing sense of distance and mistrust in the relationship. Another telling sign is a noticeable decrease in emotional or physical intimacy. This is often one of the hardest changes to confront because it affects the very core of your connection with your partner. Intimacy isn't just about the physical bond you share, but but also the emotional closeness that binds two people together. When that connection starts to fade, it can be devastating. A partner who once showed you affection, made an effort to spend quality time together, and actively engaged in your life, might suddenly seem distracted, disinterested, or emotionally distant. This change could manifest in many ways: fewer date nights, lack of meaningful conversations, or simply a sense that they're emotionally unavailable even when they're physically present. I remember hearing about a couple where the husband, who had always been very affectionate, slowly started to withdraw. He stopped being physically intimate, and their conversations became shorter and less meaningful. When his wife tried to address it, he would dismiss her concerns, telling her that he was just tired or stressed. But deep down, she knew that something else was happening. That emotional distance, paired with his increasing protectiveness over his phone, eventually revealed that he had been involved in an affair. The emotional toll on her was immense, not just because of the physical betrayal, but because she had lost the emotional connection that once defined their relationship. While these changes in behavior, such as secrecy with electronic devices and a decrease in intimacy, are troubling, it's important to note that they do not always point to infidelity. Life is complicated, and sometimes people withdraw emotionally or physically for reasons unrelated to their partner. Stress from work, mental health struggles, or personal crises can all lead to these behaviors. It's crucial not to jump to conclusions, but instead to approach the situation with an open heart and mind. Your partner may be going through something personal that they haven't shared with you yet, and assuming infidelity without having all the facts can lead to unnecessary tension and conflict. However, if these behaviors persist and continue to affect the quality of your relationship, it may be time to address your concerns. The worst thing you can do in these situations is to let the fear of confrontation prevent you from seeking clarity. Doubts left unaddressed will only grow, festering into resentment and mistrust. It's important to approach your partner calmly and without accusation, creating a safe space for honest dialogue. Express how their behavior is making you feel, and ask if there's anything going on that they'd like to talk about. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Sometimes, opening this line of communication can help you both reconnect and understand each other better. Perhaps your partner is struggling with something they didn't feel comfortable sharing before, and this conversation could be a bridge back to emotional closeness. In other cases, it may reveal the truth that you've been dreading, but even then, knowing the truth allows you to make informed decisions about your future. In relationships, trust is the foundation that holds everything together. When that trust begins to crumble, whether through infidelity or a lack of communication, the entire relationship becomes unstable. Rebuilding that trust is possible, but it takes time, effort, and a willingness from both partners to be vulnerable and honest with each other. If, after addressing these concerns, you find that your partner is genuinely committed to improving the relationship, there is hope for healing and reconnection. But if the trust has been broken beyond repair, it's important to acknowledge that and take the necessary steps to protect your own emotional well-being. Ultimately, the key to navigating these difficult situations is open communication and self-awareness. Trust your instincts, but also give your partner the opportunity to explain their behavior. If you approach the situation with compassion and a desire to understand rather than accuse, you're more likely to uncover the truth, whatever that may be. And remember, no matter the outcome, you deserve to be in a relationship where you feel loved, valued, and secure. Trust is a two-way street, and both partners must be willing to work on it to create a lasting, healthy connection. In my many years of observing and living through relationships, I have come to deeply understand that communication and honesty are the bedrock upon which all successful partnerships are built. When trust begins to waver or suspicions start to creep into your heart, the most crucial step is to address these feelings head-on with open, genuine communication. I've seen time and again that the ability to talk openly with your partner can uncover truths that are often buried deep beneath the surface. These truths, whether they are about your relationship or personal struggles, are essential for fostering a connection that can withstand even the most challenging of storms. Of course, I won't pretend that these conversations are easy. When you suspect something as painful as infidelity, it can feel like the ground is shifting beneath your feet. There's an overwhelming temptation to avoid the topic, to hope that it will resolve itself, or even to ignore the signs altogether. But trust me, the silence only deepens the divide. Having the courage to initiate an honest conversation, even if it's uncomfortable, is essential for the growth and health of any relationship. Avoiding it only allows doubt and resentment to fester, making it harder to rebuild the trust that is so vital for both partners to feel secure and valued. However, addressing these delicate issues, especially when they involve such sensitive matters as suspicions of infidelity, requires a great deal of care and thoughtfulness. You can't simply barge into a conversation with accusations or anger, as that will likely lead to defensiveness and further disconnect. Instead, the approach must be one of empathy, understanding, and respect. Open and honest communication is the key to getting to the truth, but there are ways to approach these difficult conversations that can foster an atmosphere of mutual respect and understanding rather than conflict or resentment. The first and perhaps most important step is to carefully choose the right time and place for the conversation. This is not a discussion that should happen in the heat of the moment or when either of you is preoccupied with other responsibilities. You'll want to find a time when both of you are calm, relaxed, and not rushing to meet other commitments. Conversations of this nature require focus and emotional presence, so it's important that neither of you feels distracted or under pressure. Additionally, privacy is key. These discussions should take place in a quiet, private setting where you both feel comfortable and safe. It's essential that the environment allows for a sense of openness and vulnerability, without fear of being overheard or interrupted. In such a space, both partners can express their feelings honestly, and more importantly, listen to one another without distractions. This allows for a deeper connection and understanding, which is critical when navigating complex and emotional topics like infidelity. When the time comes to initiate the conversation, it's important to approach your partner from a place of care, not accusation. Instead of immediately confronting them with suspicions, try to express how you've been feeling in recent days or weeks. For example, you might say, "I've noticed that we seem a bit distant lately, and it's been weighing on my mind. I want us to reconnect and understand what's going on, because I care about us." By focusing on how you feel and framing the discussion as a desire to reconnect, you open the door for honest dialogue rather than putting your partner on the defensive. Listening is just as important as speaking in these moments. Allow your partner the space to respond, and truly listen to what they have to say. It's possible that the changes you've observed have nothing to do with infidelity at all, but may stem from stress, personal challenges, or other issues. Being open to hearing their side without immediately jumping to conclusions shows that you are committed to the relationship and are willing to work through difficulties together. It also sets a tone of mutual respect, which is crucial for resolving any conflict. Of course, there is always the possibility that the conversation will reveal something painful. If infidelity or betrayal comes to light, it can feel like your world has been turned upside down. These moments are undeniably difficult, but even then, facing the truth is better than living with uncertainty and suspicion. Once the truth is out in the open, you can begin the process of healing, whether that means working through the betrayal together or choosing to part ways. Either path, though painful, allows for clarity and growth. On the other hand, these conversations might reveal that your partner is struggling with something completely unrelated to the relationship. Perhaps they are going through a personal crisis, feeling overwhelmed with work, or dealing with emotional issues that they haven't felt comfortable sharing. In such cases, your patience and understanding can help bring you closer together. Sometimes, just knowing that you're willing to listen without judgment is enough to reignite the emotional connection that may have faded over time. At the heart of these conversations is the desire to rebuild trust and deepen your connection. No relationship is immune to challenges, and every couple will face moments of doubt or distance. But it's in how you choose to address these moments that the future of your relationship is determined. By creating a space for honesty, openness, and empathy, you lay the groundwork for a partnership that can survive even the toughest of trials. So, if you find yourself in a situation where doubt has entered your relationship, Take a deep breath. Trust in the power of communication, and have faith in your ability to navigate these challenges with grace. Whether you're uncovering painful truths or finding new ways to support each other through difficult times, remember that every conversation is an opportunity for growth. Even the hardest truths, when faced with honesty and understanding, can lead to greater intimacy, connection, and mutual respect. Initiating a conversation about difficult topics like suspicions of infidelity or emotional distance in a relationship can be one of the most emotionally charged and challenging things we face. However, it's crucial to approach these conversations in a way that nurtures understanding rather than intensifying conflict. Over the course of my long life, I've learned that effective communication is not just about what we say, but how we say it, and perhaps more importantly, how we listen. If you sense that something is off in your relationship, your goal shouldn't be to accuse or blame, but to seek clarity, connection, and healing through thoughtful dialogue. When you begin the conversation, it's essential to express your feelings in a way that opens the door to communication rather than shutting it down with accusations. Start by using I statements that focus on your emotions and perceptions, rather than framing the discussion around what your partner is doing wrong. For example, instead of saying, "You never care about spending time with me anymore," try something like, "I've been feeling a little disconnected from you lately, and it's been weighing on my mind." This shifts the focus from blaming your partner to sharing how you feel, which can make your partner more receptive to hearing your concerns without immediately becoming defensive. It's also important to keep in mind that your partner may not even be aware that their behavior has caused these feelings. People often go through personal struggles or life transitions that can lead to changes in behavior without consciously intending to hurt their partner. By framing the conversation around your own feelings, you're more likely to invite a productive discussion where both of you can express what's going on beneath the surface. Just as important as what you say is how you listen. Active listening is one of the most powerful tools in any conversation, especially when emotions are running high. When you listen actively, you're not just waiting for your turn to speak or thinking of how to defend your point. Instead, you're fully present in the moment, focused on understanding your partner's words, emotions, and perspective. This means maintaining eye contact, nodding to show you're engaged, and asking thoughtful questions to clarify what they're saying. You might ask, "Can you help me understand why you've seemed more distant lately?" Or, "How have you been feeling about us?" These kinds of questions signal that you're not there to point fingers, but to truly understand what's going on. The power of active listening cannot be overstated. It not only helps you gain a deeper insight into your partner's feelings, but it also makes them feel valued and heard. Often, one of the biggest sources of tension in relationships is the feeling that our partner isn't truly listening or doesn't care about how we feel. When you listen with empathy and an open heart, you demonstrate that you're invested in understanding them, which can break down barriers and lead to more honest and meaningful communication. It's also vital to prepare yourself for the flood of emotions that may arise during these conversations. Discussions about infidelity or emotional disconnection can stir up intense feelings: fear, anger, sadness, frustration, and these emotions can be overwhelming for both you and your partner. It's important to allow space for these emotions without trying to suppress them or let them take over the conversation. Acknowledge what you're feeling and give your partner the opportunity to do the same. You might say, "I'm feeling really hurt right now, and I want to work through this with you." Or, "I can see that this is hard for you, and I appreciate you sharing how you feel." This expression of vulnerability can be one of the most powerful tools in these situations. Vulnerability fosters emotional intimacy, and by allowing yourself to be open and honest about your feelings, you give your partner permission to do the same. It can transform a potentially explosive conversation into one of deep connection and understanding. By recognizing and validating each other's emotions, you build a foundation for moving forward together, whether that means working through the problem or deciding what steps need to be taken next. Once emotions have been expressed, it's important to steer the conversation towards solutions. While it's natural to want to discuss the details of what went wrong, dwelling too much on the past can lead to feelings of blame and resentment. Instead, focus on how to move forward in a way that strengthens your relationship. This can be as simple as setting new boundaries or discussing how to improve communication. In some cases, couples counseling can be an incredibly valuable resource, offering a neutral space where both partners can express their feelings and work through issues with the guidance of a professional. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Problem solving together can also include making small changes in your daily lives to renew your connection. This might mean scheduling regular check-in conversations where you both share how you're feeling, or it could be as simple as dedicating more time to activities you both enjoy. Whether it's setting aside an evening for a date night, going for walks together, or just spending a few minutes each day really talking, these small actions can help to re-establish the bond that may have weakened over time. It's also important to remember that these conversations and the healing process won't happen overnight. Rebuilding trust and emotional intimacy takes time, patience, and consistent effort from both partners. There will likely be setbacks and difficult moments, but by staying committed to the process and to each other, you can begin to repair what has been damaged. If the conversation reveals painful truths, whether it's infidelity or another form of betrayal, it's important to give yourself time to process what you've learned before making any major decisions. Infidelity doesn't necessarily mean the end of a relationship, but it does require both partners to fully commit to working through the pain and rebuilding trust. This can take time, and it may involve difficult conversations, counseling, and a lot of emotional work. However, with a shared commitment to healing, many couples find that they can come out of these situations stronger than before. On the other hand, if the conversation reveals personal struggles that are unrelated to infidelity, such as stress, depression, or emotional exhaustion, then addressing these issues together can bring you closer. Sometimes, your partner's distance may be the result of something that has nothing to do with the relationship, and your willingness to listen and support them through these challenges can make all the difference. In the end, the most important thing is that both partners feel heard, understood, and valued. Open, honest communication, paired with active listening and a commitment to problem solving, can help you navigate even the toughest of challenges in your relationship. While these conversations may be difficult, they are also an opportunity for growth, healing, and a deeper connection. In relationships, few things are as difficult and emotionally taxing as navigating the terrain of suspicion and trust, particularly when it comes to infidelity. It is an experience that tests the very foundation of love, security, and partnership. Yet, as challenging as these moments are, they can also serve as pivotal points in a relationship, an opportunity to confront uncomfortable truths, rebuild trust, or in some cases, make the painful but necessary decision to part ways. Over the course of my life, I've come to understand that honesty and mutual respect are not just important, they are non-negotiable. They form the bedrock of any meaningful connection between two people. Without them, even the most passionate love can eventually wither away. When doubts about a partner's fidelity creep in, it's natural to feel a flood of emotions: anger, fear, sadness, even shame. These feelings are real, valid, and often overwhelming. The initial instinct may be to avoid the issue entirely, hoping it will resolve on its own, or to lash out in anger, accusing the partner without knowing all the facts. However, the healthiest approach in these situations requires balance, approaching the issue with a blend of calmness, honesty, and respect. It's this approach that can lead to either healing or a path to closure, depending on the outcome of the conversation. One of the most important things to remember is that, when addressing suspicions of infidelity, communication is key. But it's not just about talking, it's about how you talk. Accusatory language and blame will immediately put your partner on the defensive, shutting down any chance of an open and honest conversation. Instead, focus on your own feelings and perceptions. Frame the discussion around what you've been feeling, rather than what your partner has been doing. Phrases like, "I've been feeling disconnected lately," or "something has been weighing heavily on my mind," can open the door to a more productive conversation. These statements don't point fingers. They simply express your experience. It's crucial to approach the conversation with a genuine desire to understand, rather than just accuse or prove your suspicions. Keep in mind that changes in behavior or emotional distance don't automatically mean your partner is being unfaithful. People go through personal struggles, work stress, and other challenges that can impact how they engage in the relationship. When you allow space for open communication, you may find that the reasons for their behavior are more complex than you initially thought. That being said, if your suspicions are grounded in real behavioral changes, such as secretive phone use, decreased intimacy, or shifts in routines, it's fair to bring these observations to the table. Share them from your perspective, rather than framing them as absolute facts. You could say, "I've noticed that we've been spending less time together, and I'm wondering what's been going on," or "I've been feeling anxious because it seems like things have changed between us." These statements allow your partner to respond without feeling attacked, and they keep the conversation focused on the relationship, rather than turning it into a confrontation. While you're talking, remember that the goal is not just to express your concerns, but also to listen, really listen, to your partner's response. Active listening is a skill that requires more than just hearing the words they say. It involves paying attention to the emotions behind those words, the pauses in the conversation, and the body language that often speaks louder than verbal responses. When you practice active listening, you're more likely to pick up on subtle clues about how your partner is feeling and what they may be struggling with. Ask open-ended questions to encourage a deeper dialogue. Instead of assuming you know what's going on, ask for clarity. "Can you help me understand what's been on your mind lately?" Or, "I want to hear how you've been feeling about us," are good ways to invite your partner to share their thoughts and feelings without feeling cornered. Listening to their perspective may reveal aspects of the relationship that you hadn't considered, and it could lead to a greater understanding of what has been causing the distance between you. While having these conversations, you must also prepare yourself emotionally for the possibility that the discussion may not go as planned. These types of conversations can trigger intense emotions: fear, frustration, sadness, and even anger. Allowing yourself and your partner to express these emotions is part of the process. Don't shy away from your feelings. Acknowledge them. "I'm feeling really vulnerable right now, but I need to talk about this." When you show vulnerability, you give your partner permission to do the same, which can foster a deeper emotional connection, even during a difficult conversation. But it's also important to keep the conversation focused on moving forward, rather than dwelling endlessly on what may have gone wrong in the past. Rehashing old arguments or lingering too long on feelings of blame can be counterproductive. Instead, after you've expressed your concerns and listened to your partner's perspective, try to shift the conversation toward solutions. What steps can you both take to improve the relationship? Can you make more time for each other? Set new boundaries? Agree on ways to communicate more openly and honestly moving forward? Problem solving together can help turn a potentially destructive conversation into a collaborative effort to strengthen your bond. It shows that both partners are committed to working through the challenges and rebuilding trust. In some cases, couples may find that counseling is a helpful resource. A therapist can provide guidance and support in navigating these difficult conversations and help both partners communicate more effectively. Seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of your commitment to the relationship. It's also important to recognize that healing and rebuilding trust doesn't happen overnight. If infidelity has occurred, or even if there are just lingering suspicions, it can take time, sometimes a long time, to fully heal. Both partners need to be willing to put in the work. That might involve difficult conversations, setting new boundaries, and making intentional efforts to rebuild emotional intimacy. Patience, consistency, and honesty are key to repairing the damage and creating a stronger foundation moving forward. However, if trust cannot be rebuilt, if the relationship has been damaged beyond repair, it's equally important to respect yourself enough to recognize when it's time to walk away. There's no shame in deciding that a relationship has reached its end, particularly if trust has been broken in a way that cannot be mended. Leaving a relationship is never easy, but staying in a relationship where trust is consistently violated can be even more damaging in the long run. Throughout this entire process, one of the most important things you can do is to take care of yourself. When you're caught up in the emotional turmoil of a relationship crisis, it's easy to lose sight of your own needs. Take time for self-care, whether that means seeking support from friends or a counselor, engaging in activities that bring you joy, or simply giving yourself permission to take a break from the emotional intensity of the situation. Trust in your own judgment and listen to your instincts. If something feels off, it's worth addressing. Trusting yourself is just as important as trusting your partner, and it will give you the strength to make the right decisions for your own well-being. In the end, relationships are complex, and navigating issues of trust and suspicion can be incredibly difficult. But with honesty, respect, and a commitment to open communication, it's possible to find clarity. Whether that clarity leads to healing and reconciliation or a decision to part ways, the important thing is that both partners are heard, valued, and respected. And through it all, remember that you deserve a relationship built on mutual trust, love, and respect. You have the right to seek the truth and the strength to face it, whatever it may be. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, but it's not something that is granted automatically. It's earned slowly, over time, through repeated actions, honesty, and open communication. It's about feeling safe enough to be vulnerable with your partner, knowing that they will protect your heart rather than betray it. Trust is built from the everyday moments, the candid conversations, the small acts of kindness, and the shared experiences that solidify the bond between two people. But despite how much effort it takes to build, trust is fragile. It can be shattered in an instant by dishonesty or betrayal. And when that happens, the journey to rebuild it can feel insurmountable. In all my years of life, one thing has remained constant. Trust must never be taken for granted. It is something that needs constant nurturing. Just as a garden requires regular tending to flourish, so does the trust in a relationship. When we assume that our partner knows they are appreciated, or that the bond we've built will hold without further effort, that's when cracks begin to form. One of the most effective ways to maintain trust is to show continuous appreciation for your partner's presence in your life. This doesn't have to be grand gestures, but rather, the small acts of recognition that communicate gratitude. A simple thank you for something they've done, an unexpected compliment, or even an acknowledgement of how hard they're working in life can strengthen the fabric of your relationship. These daily moments of appreciation reinforce the bond of trust, reminding both partners of their value to one another. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Moreover, trust thrives in an environment of open communication. It's not just about talking, it's about genuinely engaging in conversations that matter. Having regular, emotional check-ins with your partner can make a world of difference. These are dedicated moments where you both sit down and talk about how you're feeling, whether things are going well or if there are issues that need to be addressed. Checking in with each other emotionally helps prevent small problems from escalating into larger issues. It ensures that both partners feel heard and valued, and it strengthens the trust you share by fostering transparency and emotional intimacy. When you make it a habit to communicate openly and honestly, you create a space where trust can flourish. But trust isn't just about the relationship, it's also about the individual. This is where self-care and self-esteem come into play. All too often, when trust is broken or when issues such as infidelity arise, people fall into the trap of self-blame or self-criticism. You might start to believe that you weren't good enough, or that somehow, you were responsible for your partner's actions. It's easy to spiral into these thoughts, but it's important to remember that your worth is not dependent on your relationship or your partner's behavior. Your self-esteem should be rooted in who you are as a person, independent of anyone else. Self-care becomes absolutely essential in times of relationship turmoil. When your trust has been broken, it's natural to feel overwhelmed by emotions like anger, sadness, confusion, and betrayal. In these moments, it's easy to become consumed by the relationship and forget to take care of your own needs. But neglecting your emotional, physical, and mental well-being will only make the situation harder to manage. Self-care is about more than just pampering yourself. It's about nourishing your soul and finding strength within. This might mean taking time to reconnect with friends who uplift you, engaging in activities that bring you joy, or simply allowing yourself space to reflect and heal. For some, Self-care might involve seeking the help of a therapist to work through the complex emotions that come with broken trust. The key is to focus on your own healing, separate from the relationship. You are more than just one half of a couple. You are a whole, complete person on your own. In the context of infidelity or betrayal, self-care is not just important, it's vital. When trust is violated, it can feel like your entire world has been turned upside down. You may find yourself questioning everything, your partner, your relationship, and even yourself. This is why self-care and self-esteem must take center stage during this time. It's essential to remember that your value is not defined by your partner's actions. Your worth is inherent, and no one else has the power to diminish it. By caring for yourself, you not only protect your emotional well-being but also give yourself the strength to face the situation with clarity and resolve. Whether you choose to work on rebuilding the relationship or decide that it's time to move on, self-care will provide the foundation you need to make those decisions from a place of strength rather than fear or desperation. Self-care allows you to step back, assess the situation with a clear mind, and determine what is best for your future, whether that future includes your partner or not. Rebuilding trust after it has been broken is no small feat. It takes time, patience, and a deep commitment from both partners. If both of you are willing to put in the work, it is possible to restore trust and even create a stronger bond than before. But this process cannot happen overnight. It requires consistent effort, repeated acts of honesty, transparency, and vulnerability. Both partners must be willing to communicate openly about their feelings, their fears, and their expectations moving forward. For the partner who was betrayed, it's important to express the pain and hurt in a way that fosters understanding rather than further conflict. And for the partner who broke the trust, it's crucial to take full responsibility and commit to making amends, without defensiveness or excuses. Trust cannot be rebuilt if the wound is ignored or minimized. Both partners must be willing to engage in difficult conversations and confront the emotional reality of what happened. This may involve couples counseling, where a neutral third party can facilitate these discussions and provide guidance. Counseling can help both partners navigate the emotional complexity of rebuilding trust and offer strategies for fostering greater emotional intimacy. Seeking help doesn't mean the relationship is broken beyond repair. It means that both partners are committed to doing what it takes to heal. At the same time, it's important to recognize that not every relationship can be saved. If trust has been broken in a way that feels irreparable, it's essential to honor your own emotional needs and make the decision to move on. Ending a relationship is never easy, but staying in a relationship where trust has been consistently violated can be even more damaging in the long run. If you find that you are unable to rebuild trust, or if your partner is unwilling to do the work necessary to repair the damage, it may be time to walk away. This is where self-care becomes even more critical. Letting go of a relationship does not mean you failed. It means you're choosing to prioritize your own well-being. Maintaining self-esteem through this process is key. A breakup, especially one involving infidelity, can leave you feeling rejected, unworthy, and emotionally drained. But it's important to remind yourself that you are whole, capable, and deserving of love and respect. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. Engage in activities that bring you joy and remind you of your own value. Focus on your own growth and healing, and trust that you will emerge stronger on the other side. In conclusion, trust is one of the most precious aspects of a relationship, but it requires constant nurturing and care. It is built through small, everyday actions and sustained through open communication and mutual respect. But even when trust is broken, self-care and self-esteem provide the emotional strength needed to face the situation with clarity. Whether you work to repair the relationship or decide to move on, prioritizing your own well-being is essential. You are deserving of a relationship that is built on trust, love, and respect. But most importantly, you deserve to love and care for yourself. Through self-care, you can navigate the difficult process of rebuilding trust or moving forward, knowing that your worth remains intact, no matter what. Recognizing when a relationship has become unhealthy is one of the hardest and most important realizations a person can have. Relationships are meant to bring joy, comfort, and growth, but sometimes they can instead become sources of pain, distrust, and anxiety. When trust is repeatedly broken, when self-esteem is constantly chipped away, it's important to pause and ask whether the relationship is still serving your well-being or if it's doing more harm than good. Often, we hold on to relationships far past their expiration date, out of fear of the unknown, attachment, or the belief that things will eventually get better. But clinging to a relationship that continuously erodes your sense of self can leave deep scars, and letting go might be the most courageous and healing choice you can make. Letting go is not a sign of failure, nor does it mean you didn't love enough or try hard enough. It's an acknowledgement that your own emotional health is worth protecting, and that sometimes, despite the love or history shared, a relationship is no longer contributing positively to your life. Recognizing this truth and having the courage to act on it is a profound act of self-care. It takes tremendous strength to step back and say, "I deserve better," especially when the future seems uncertain or when you've invested so much of yourself into the relationship. But the act of letting go can open new doors to healing, growth, and ultimately a life where your happiness is prioritized. For anyone facing challenges in their relationships, whether it's trust issues, betrayal, or emotional distance, I want to remind you that you are not alone. It's easy to feel isolated when you're going through something difficult, but many people around you, and in the world, are facing similar struggles. Reach out to trusted friends and family members who can provide support and a listening ear. Sometimes, just being able to talk openly with someone about what you're going through can bring a sense of relief and clarity. Seeking help from a counselor or therapist can also be incredibly beneficial. A professional can offer unbiased guidance, help you work through your feelings, and assist you in making decisions that align with your needs and values. It's essential to remember that while your relationship is important, your well-being should never be neglected. Taking care of yourself, both physically and emotionally, is vital. Self-care doesn't just mean treating yourself to relaxing activities, though that's part of it. It means taking the time to address your emotional needs, setting boundaries, and ensuring you're in a healthy state of mind. When you prioritize your own health, it becomes easier to navigate relationship challenges from a place of strength and clarity, rather than from a place of fear or desperation. I've learned through my own experiences and observations that self-care, especially during difficult times in a relationship, is not selfish. On the contrary, it's a necessity. When you neglect your own needs in favor of maintaining a relationship at all costs, you lose touch with yourself, and that can lead to greater emotional damage in the long run. Taking the time to care for yourself will help you gain perspective, build emotional resilience, and regain your sense of worth. It's through self-care that we find the strength to make tough decisions, whether that's working to rebuild trust or finding the courage to walk away from a relationship that no longer serves us. I hope these reflections on trust and self-care offer you a new perspective as you face whatever challenges lie ahead in your relationship. Trust is one of the most delicate and essential elements of a relationship, and once it's broken, the journey to restore it can be long and difficult. But even if the path to healing is unclear right now, know that you have the power to choose what's best for your well-being. Whether you decide to stay and work through the issues or make the decision to leave, putting your emotional and mental health first is crucial. You deserve to be in a relationship where you feel valued, respected, and loved. If you find these thoughts helpful or meaningful, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and share your own experiences or reflections in the comments. Sharing your story can be incredibly healing, both for you and for others who may be going through similar experiences. There is strength in community, and by opening up about our struggles, we can create a space where support and compassion thrive. Thank you for taking the time to join me in this conversation. Remember, the first step toward creating healthy, loving relationships is taking care of yourself. You are deserving of love, respect, and happiness, and by prioritizing your well-being, you ensure that you can enter into or continue relationships from a place of strength and self-assurance. As we part, I want to remind you that challenges like infidelity, betrayal, or broken trust do not have to define you or your future. Over the years, I've seen countless people go through the devastation of betrayal, only to emerge on the other side stronger, more self-aware, and more resilient than they ever imagined. These painful moments, while incredibly difficult, can serve as catalysts for personal growth and transformation. Pain teaches us about our boundaries, our values, and what we truly need in life. Sometimes, the hardest trials we face are the ones that bring us the most clarity about who we are and what we want out of our relationships. If you're going through a period of suspicion or betrayal in your relationship, please know that there is hope. The feelings you're experiencing now, whether they're anger, sadness, confusion, or fear, are valid, but they don't have to be permanent. Healing is possible, whether you choose to rebuild the relationship with your partner or move forward on your own. What matters most is that you make decisions that prioritize your well-being and peace of mind. Your emotional health is worth protecting, and it's through self-care and self-love that you'll find the strength to move forward with grace and courage. This process won't be easy. Healing from broken trust, especially in the case of infidelity, takes time, patience, and a commitment to self-care. But I trust that with time, you will find the peace and clarity you seek. And please, never feel that you have to go through this journey alone. Surround yourself with people who support and love you, who will listen to you without judgment, and who will remind you of your worth when you start to doubt yourself. There is a world of support out there. Reach for it. Thank you, once again, for allowing me to share these reflections with you. My hope is that these words provide some comfort and guidance as you navigate whatever challenges you're facing. Together, let's continue to build relationships rooted in trust, respect, and love. And most importantly, let's continue caring for ourselves along the way. Self-love is the foundation for all healthy relationships, and it's the key to moving forward, no matter what life throws at us. What have you learned so far from this conversation about trust and relationships? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below with one key takeaway that you'll bring into practice in your own life. And remember, healing starts with self-care and honest communication. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's continue this journey together toward healthier, stronger relationships.